children, how are you all? Hope you are enjoying the digital classes. Welcome to the next session of the digital class. Yes, children, have you ever observed your surroundings? What are the things you see there? You will be seeing different types of things, isn't it? You can see different types of plants, animals, rocks, soil, vehicles such as cars, buses, etc., isn't it? So, different types of things you will be observing in your surroundings. These things, they have been classified into two types depending upon their characteristics. What are those? They are living things and non-living things. So, today we are going to discuss about the topic living and non-living things. So, here in this chapter we will be discussing what are the characteristics of living things, what are the characteristics of non-living things, how they are differentiated and all those things. So, by the end of this lesson, what you will be learning? You will be able to differentiate living and non-living things. You will be learning the characteristics of living things. You will be also be able to learn what is the use of microscope, and you will also be learning about different types of microscopic organisms. So, by the end of this chapter, you will be learning all these things. Okay children, are you ready? Yes. Now, see the next one here. The things we see around us, they can be divided into two groups. What are those things? Living things and non-living things. See here in this slide children, a girl is there. She is a living or non-living? She is a living thing. See here, an aeroplane is there. Is it living or non-living? It is a non-living thing. So, how can we differentiate them? Living things are the things around us which are able to eat. They are able to grow, move, respire or breathe and as well as excrete. So, if all these characteristics are present, then they are considered to be as living things. Whereas, a non-living thing, it is not having all these characteristic features. So, it does not respire, it does not move, it does not grow, it can't excrete and it can't reproduce. We will study in detail about these characteristic features of living things and as well as non-living things. Okay children? Here, what does living things include? It includes people, animals and as well as plants. Not only this one, it also includes microorganisms. What are microorganisms? We will see in detail in the coming topic. Okay children. Now here, what does living thing needs? All the living things, what do they require? They require food, water and as well as air. Even plants, animals, all different types of microorganisms, human beings, all of them, they will be requiring these things. What are those? Food, water as well as air to grow. And not only that one, some of these living organisms also require sunlight to prepare their food materials. So, here living things require all these things. Now, here you can see in this slide, what is the first one? They are people. So, different types of people are there here. The second one is different types of animals such as cats, dogs and so many other animals. And the next one is, so people, animals and plants, they are nothing but they are the living things. So, now here what is meant by living thing? How can we say that they are living things? Because they are having some characteristic features. Some of the things they will be undergoing in their life process. So, depending upon that only we can say that they are living things. See here, what are the characteristic features of the living things? They obtain and they use energy. The living things such as different types of living things, they will be obtaining and as well as they will be using the energy in the form of food. Understood? So, these are the characteristics of living things. What are those? See the first one here, they will be able to move from place to place. They can grow, this is one of the characteristic. They can respire or they can breathe and they can excrete and as well as they can eat. Not only this one, it also has the capacity to reproduce also. So, these are all the characteristic features of the living things. Do you think all the living things will be having the same characteristic features, or all of them definitely should have all these characteristic features? It is not compulsory like that. Some of the living things will be having some of the characteristic features. All the living things, you can see here, all the living things, they are born, they are reproduced, they are produced from their parents. Next, they will be growing, then they will be reproducing once again, and finally they will be dying. So, these are the characteristic features which are present in all living things. So, what are living things? Living things are nothing but plants, animals, human beings, and as well as microscopic organisms. These are considered to be as the living things. Is it clear, children? Now, we will be studying in detail about each and every characteristic feature, how it is present in the case of living organisms. See here, children. So, the first characteristic feature is movement. All the living things need the ability to move. See here in this slide, you can see a girl is walking along with its dog, isn't it so? So, human beings are also moving, and as well as animals are also moving. So, here the characteristic feature you can see in these living organisms is movement. So, now you may get a doubt here. Now, plants are there, isn't it? I said that plants are also living things, isn't it? So, can the plants move from one place to another place? Do the plants have legs? Have you ever observed it? No, plants can't move from one place to another place, but they are considered to be as the living organisms. For example, you take a chair or a table or a cot, it has 4 legs, isn't it so? We have 2 legs, but these things, they have legs. Though they are having legs, can they move from one place to another place? No, they cannot be moved, isn't it? Since they are unable to move, they are considered to be as the non-living things. But coming to the plants, though they cannot move, they will be seen in different places. For example, you see some plants here in this area, but you can see the same type of plant in another area also. How it will be moving? So, either we may put the seeds, or the seeds will be moving on their own. That phenomenon is called as seed dispersal. So, that seed dispersal we will be studying in the next class here. So, that is helpful for the movement of these plants from one place to another place. So, practically when we see that, we cannot say that plants are moving, they are stationary, but they will be seen in different places, hence they are considered to be as the living things. Is it clear, children? Have you understood? So, the first property was regarding about movement. Now, the second one, see here, living things grow and develop. So, here the living things are having a characteristic feature, that is growth will be taking place. So, what is growth here? See, all living things need to grow and stay healthy, therefore, they can take in substances such as food and energy to stay healthy. For example, humans, they come from a baby to a big boy, isn't it? See here, children, you can see the first one here, a seed grows to become a tree, isn't it so? So, when we plant a seed, slowly it germinates, it develops into a plant sapling, slowly it develops to a small plant, then afterwards it finally develops into a tree, isn't it? So, that means growth is seen in plants, that is the characteristic feature. Now, the second one you can observe, here human beings give birth to babies, isn't it so? This baby will be so small, isn't it? Slowly they develop into adults, isn't it so? And they become old. That means here a baby grows to become an adult. So, growth is the characteristic feature which we can see in plants and as well as human beings. Not only that one, it can also be seen in animals. For example, here you can see this is a baby dog, that is nothing but the puppy. So, the puppy slowly develops into a dog. So, here also growth is seen, isn't it, children? The next one, you can see here frog. Frog comes from eggs, isn't it so? These eggs develop into the tadpole larva, and the tadpole larva finally grow into an adult. So, here also the characteristic feature called as growth is seen. Now, the last one you can see here, this is egg. From this egg, chick will come. This chick slowly develops into a hen, isn't it so? So, here also growth is observed. So, by this you can say that growth is the characteristic features of all the living things. So, it is not compulsory that growth is a continuous process. You can see in animals, after growing to a certain height or certain age, the growth will be stopped, isn't it so? But whereas when we come to the plants, plants will be continuously growing, isn't it? So, growth in plants can also be observed when they develop their lateral branches. So, they will be growing their trunk, they will be growing their branches. By that, in plants growth is seen. Whereas in animals, also after a certain limit, the growth will be stopped. So, it will be very funny if you observe that continuously we are going on growing, isn't it so? But it is not possible after a particular growth, the growth of an organism in case of animals and human beings will stop. Is it clear, children? So, this is regarding about growth. Now, see the next characteristic feature, that is reproduction. So, what do you mean by reproduction? So, here living things will reproduce. What is the meaning of reproduction? Reproduction means nothing but the ability of an organism to produce the young ones of the same species. They give birth to the babies, that is called as reproduction. So, here see children, reproducing is the process of giving birth. A cat gives birth to a kitten, human being gives birth to children, plants reproduce and produces small plants also, isn't it? They also produce the foods. So, here this is the thing. See children, here depending upon whether the animals lay eggs or give birth to babies, they have been classified into two types. Some of the animals, they give birth to babies directly, they won't lay the eggs. Those animals which give birth to the babies directly, they are called as viviparous animals. So, what they are called as viviparous animals. They here you can see some type of fish and as well as cow, goat, human being, all of them they are considered to be as viviparous animals, that is they give birth to the babies directly. Whereas the second one here, those animals which lay eggs, they lay eggs and the eggs will hatch and the babies will come outside. So, such type of animals are called as oviparous animals. What they are called as? Oviparous animals. Certain aquatic organisms, all of them they come under this oviparous organisms. And now coming to the plants, plants they are produced or they are born from seeds, they are produced from seeds. Seeds will be germinating and from this process of germination the baby plant will be produced. This process is called as reproduction. So, here when living things reproduce, they make other living things with the same characteristic. See the first picture children here, the cow is giving birth to its calf, isn't it? So, here whereas the second one you can see here, small baby is born, they have the characteristic features of human beings only, whereas cow will be having the characteristic features similar as well as in the calf also. You can see here plants also, some birds also. Here that is nothing but when the process of reproduction takes place, they produce the offsprings which are having the same characteristic features and they are also having the capacity to reproduce once again. So, this is the main characteristic feature of the living things, that is they can reproduce. So, till now what we have seen children, living things can move from one place to another place. Exceptional case is there, that is plants. The second one is living things can grow, they will be growing in their size and up to a certain height and then afterwards it will stop. Exceptional case is there, here also again plants. The next one we have seen is that living things they will reproduce, that means they produce the young ones. Is it clear children? Now see the next one here, all living things will die. So, here after the birth has been occurred, after growth has been takes place, the living organisms they will die. So, now the dead organisms, dead plants or dead animals, are they living or dead? Do you have any idea regarding this? Dead animals, are they living things or non-living things? Think once. Yes, they are intermediate. Dead things are intermediate between living things and non-living things. When the living plant or animal, when it dies, what happens? It undergo the process of decomposition. When it decomposes, it forms the constituents of non-living organism, but we cannot say that dead organisms are non-living. Dead organisms are intermediate between living organisms and non-living organisms. So, all the living organisms they will die. Have you ever seen that chair has died or some clothes have death? No, they do not have the property of dying, they do not have the characteristic feature of death. Is it clear, children? See the next one here. Living things will breathe. What do you mean by breathing? Breathing means nothing but taking in air and releasing out air is called as breathing. So, you might have seen that when a cow sleeps or when an animal sleeps, dog sleeps, you might have seen that the stomach is moving up and down. This is nothing but taking in air and releasing out air. So, that process of exchange of gases is called as breathing, which can be seen in different types of animals and as well as human beings also. So, then now you may get a doubt here. So, we will be breathing with the help of our nose. How the plants will breathe? Do they have nose? Have you seen the nose of plant any time? Yes, plants also have a nose, but we cannot see it. We cannot see it. So, how they will be respiring? We will be seeing here now. See the next one, children, here. All living things must be able to exchange gases with the atmosphere, which is called as respiration. Living things must take in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So, which gas is taken inside? Oxygen is taken inside and releases which gas? Carbon dioxide. So, here plants also respire. How they will be respiring? They are having small openings on the leaves. Those leaves are openings are called as stomata. What they are called as? Stomata. So, stomata are nothing but they are the nose of plants. So, with the help of this stomata only, the plants are able to exchange the gases. So, plants also undergo the process of respiration. So, this is also one of the characteristic features of the living organisms, that they will breathe. Okay, children. See here the next one. Plants and animals, all the living things, they undergo a process called as excretion. What is meant by excretion? So, while taking food, the food is undergoing the process of digestion and it releases the energy. The energy is used up. Now, the waste materials are produced in our body. Now, what happened to these waste materials? They have to sent outside. If they are not sent outside, they become poisonous in our body. So, the process of removal of waste from our body as well as animals' body as well as plants' body, that process is called as excretion. So, here what is excretion, children? This is nothing but the removal of waste from our body from different organisms in the form of sweat. This is important. Why? Because waste, when they are present in our body, they become very harmful. Next, animals excrete waste in different forms. What are the different forms? Such as dung, urine, sweat, etc. So, these are the various forms. Now, here plants also excrete gummy substances. Generally, excretions are useless and they will be emitting foul smell, but they are useful. How they are useful? Animal excreta is used as manure in agricultural process, and plant secretions such as gums and resins, they are also useful for us for carrying out different activities. So, this is also one of the characteristic features of the living things, that they undergo the process of excretion. Living things, they respond to their environment. So, here whenever you touch a hot object, what you will do? Just you will drag back your hand, isn't it so? Whenever you touch a cold ice cream, you will just remove your hand. Sometimes when you are moving or when you are walking, if you put your leg on a thorn, you will immediately remove your leg, isn't it so? So, that means we show some response to the environment. So, that is nothing but living organisms, they show response to the environment. Living things also respond to their environment. So, here you know that when it is very hot, we wear cotton clothes, isn't it? When it is very cold, we will be wearing woolen clothes. So, according to the environmental change, there is response in the case of living organisms. And response to the stimulus. Stimulus here, whatever the changes which will be doing. So, animals and plants respond to sunlight, winter, temperature, light, etc. For example, you can see here, children, a plant is there. Do you know what is this plant? This plant is nothing but we call it as touch me not plant. So, it is also called as mimosa, or it is also called as attipatti. So, have you ever seen, children, when you just touch them? So, normally the leaves will be like this, but when you just touch with it your finger, then it will be closing its leaves like this. So, that means this is nothing but this is the response to the stimulus. So, that means Plants also responds to the stimulus. Understood, children? See the next one here. Living things adapt to their environment. See here, for example, if winter season is there, they will be wearing full clothes, the human beings, or isn't it? Whereas in hot summer, we will be having some fun in the beaches, isn't it so? That means cotton clothes will be taken. So that means according to the change in the environment, the living things will be changing. Is it clear, children? So here this is regarding about different characteristic features of the living organisms. Now the next one here, living things breathe, living things obtain and use energy, living things have the capacity to reproduce, living things grow and develop, living things respond to their environment and adapt to their environment. They also have cells in them. See here, what are non-living organisms? Non-living things, they are of two types. They are natural non-living things and man-made non-living things. Non-living things, they don't grow, they don't move, they don't need food. For example, you can see here a table, car, pencil, house, doll, fan, mountains and clouds, all these are non-living things. So, some of the non-living things are not developed by man, or they are not produced by the man, they are produced by nature itself. God has created them, such as air, sun, rocks and minerals, water, moon, clouds. So, these are natural non-living things, whereas some non-living things are prepared by the man, such as table, fan, house, pencil, bridge, car, etc. They are called as man-made non-living things. Is it clear, children? Now here, let us see what are the characteristic features of these non-living things. See children here, non-living things, rocks, sand, air and man-made objects of non-living things. Non-living things, they do not breathe. Next, they don't obtain and use energy. Non-living things do not produce. If we bring one table or if we bring one doll, does it become 2 or 3 dolls? No. So, they don't have the capacity to reproduce. Non-living things do not grow and develop, and non-living things do not respond. For example, if we are working on a computer, if it is not coming, so we will be showing our anger, but does any computer show any anger like that? No. So, that is non-living things do not respond to their environment, and non-living things do not adapt to their environment. They do not do, non-living things do not do anything that living things will be doing. Now, we will be studying about another interesting topic, that is about microscope. So, in the world, can you see all the things? Have you seen the small insects such as ants and all those things? Okay, I think you have observed them. Have you ever clearly observed the eyes of ant? No, isn't it? So, you cannot see very clearly those minute things. So, some things are there in the world, so which cannot be seen with our naked eye. Those organisms which we cannot see directly with our eyes, they are called as microscopic organisms. Then how can we see them? We can see them with the help of microscope. So, what is microscope? That we will see now here. See children, microscope is an instrument with which we can see minute things that we cannot see with our naked eyes. How it will be working? It will be working like a magnifying lens, but it is much more powerful. So, here you might have seen at your home or somewhere a small magnifying lens. If you put on a newspaper and you observe it, you can see the words will be, or the letters will be observed very big, isn't it so? And not only that one, you can prepare your own magnifying lens. How you can prepare it? Take a bulb. In that bulb you remove the filament. The bulb is there, no? So, in that you remove the filament and pour water in it. After pouring the water, with the help of that one, you observe it and see it. You can see the letters or any objects very big will be seen. That is, it is helping for magnification. Is it clear children? So, there are different types of microscopes are there: simple microscope, compound microscope, electron microscope, etc. So, here see children, microscope, it has two components. So, what are those components? Structural components and visual components. Structural components are head or body, base and arm. visual components are eyepiece, objective, nose piece, coarse and fine adjustment knobs, stage, aperture, etc. So, this is the picture of microscope. See children here. So, here see these are the different parts of the microscope here children. You can see what I said that they are having two components, structural component and visual component. So, this is the base and this is the arm. This arm can be moved. So, here these two are considered to be as the structural components, and you can see here eyepiece and here objective lens, this is the stage and this is the mirror, and here you can put the slide, and here this is the coarse adjustment and this is the fine adjustment. All these are considered to be as the visual components. So, here microscope has two components, that is structural component and visual component. The main use of the microscope is it helps in magnifying the object. So, small object, you can see this type of structure. This is nothing but the fungus named as rhizopus. So, the fungus named as rhizopus is causing bread mold to the bread. Now, these are the different type of bacteria. So, here this is the bacteria which we can see here. Under the microscope, if you observe, you can see it here, and this is also one type of bacteria. So, you might have observed that curd. Do you know curd children? Here I think you like it, isn't it? So, from the milk curd is prepared. So, that curd consists of a useful bacteria named as lactobacillus bacteria, which converts the milk into curd. Now, the next one, see children here. Some of the microorganisms are also present in water. So, here what are the microorganisms present in water? Paramecium, amoeba, euglena, some types of chlorellas, spirogyra. All these are the different types of microorganisms which are present in the water. What we have learnt? There are living and non-living things around us. Dead is nothing but it is an intermediate stage between living and non-living things. The living things, when they undergo the process of death, they will be converted into non-living constituents. Among living things, plants and trees can't move like animals. Seed is also a living thing but does not have all the characteristics of living world. We can see minute things under a microscope. So, microscope is the instrument which is useful for observing the microscopic organisms. Improve your learning. So, try to solve these questions and write down these answers for these questions. So, the first one is, what are the common characteristic features of living things? Second, which characteristics are same in living and non-living things? Next, what is the use of microscope? The next, what will happen if there is no stomata on leaves? So, think it. If we don't have nose, what will happen? Can we respire? If we don't respire, what will happen? Think about it. In the same manner, if plants don't have stomata, what will happen? You think about it and write down. Okay children? See the next one. Do you think living and non-living things are necessary for our environment? Why? So, can we live, only living things can survive if without having these non-living things? Without the help of non-living things, can we survive or not? You think about it, take the help of your parents and write down this answer. Is it clear children? Apart from this, you also solve the questions which are given in SERT website and write down. Is it clear children? I think children, you have understood the lesson, you have enjoyed this topic. So, we will meet in the next session of the digital class. Till then children, bye. Thank you.